Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Teaching English on Dروس Super Goal 5. Before I start, I would like to welcome my colleague, Mr. Salih Al-Ujan, the interpreter to the sign language. As always, we start our class by reviewing the objectives, what we are planning to achieve at the end of this class with students. At the end of this class, students will be able to answer some comprehension questions based on reading. They will read a text or some texts, 5 texts, then they will answer some comprehension questions. Also, the students will be able to identify comparative and superlative forms in a context. In these 5 passages that the students will read, there are some superlative and comparative forms. We will specify where these forms are. Okay, we are at the first step in a new unit. We are starting a new unit, as you can see here, Unit 6. And this unit is under the title, Do you know where this place is? The main theme of this unit is going to be discussed in the first section. As you can see, section number 1, listen and discuss. Okay, so we'll talk about some new places that you will recognize maybe for the first time. You will know some pieces of information about these places. Okay, now we start with revision to revise very quickly our previous lesson. In the previous lesson, if you still remember, we talked about form, meaning, and function. In this section, we studied passive, how to form a passive sentence from an active one, and the vice versa also, how to change the passive sentence into active. What's the difference between the active sentence and the passive sentence? Let's see some examples in here. As you can see here, we have 3 examples. Number 1 here, millions of people, okay, use the internet. Here in this sentence, it is considered as active sentence. How do you know that it is active? You can tell from the sequence of the subject, the verb, and the object. This is the active sentence, how the active sentence goes. Subject, verb, and object. If I want to form a passive sentence out of the active one, I should start with the object. So if you look at the first one here, millions of people use the internet. Okay, so where is the object here? The object in this sentence is the internet. So we can start with the internet, and after we start with the object, we have to use verb be. As you know before in our previous class, the verb be here can be used, verb be can be used in 3 different tenses. We can use it in the present, and in the present it has 3 forms, am, is, or are. It depends on the subject that you are going to describe. So if it is the speaker, we say am. Third person, he, she, it, we can use is. Plural or you, we can say are. Okay. In the past, we use was and were. Was with the singular and the speaker, I, and where we can use it with the plural. Okay. And been here, you can be used as a past participle form. Okay. So let's answer this question here. After we specify how we are going to start the passive. As we said before, the internet here, notice that we should start with a capital letter because we're starting a new sentence here. The internet, okay, what is going on in that internet? We can describe it as a singular here, is used. As we said here, we use is as a form of the verb be, and after that we use the verb in the third form, in the third we have a base form, we have a past form, and we have a past participle. We have to use it in the past participle form. Okay, is used. You can see by millions of people, or you can stop like that. You can say the internet is used. But here in this case, it's better to continue saying it is used by millions of people. Okay, millions of people. And never forget to end your sentence with a full stop because we finished the sentence. In the second one here, it is also active. We will change it into passive. Look at the sentence again. Technology has changed our life. So here we have to decide which one is the subject, which one is the verb, and which one is the object. Technology is the subject, has changed is used in the present perfect, as you can see here, and it is the verb, and our lives is the object. So if we want to write it like this, we have to start with the object. We say our lives, it's a plural form here, our lives. So since it is a plural, we have to use have. Okay, and since it is in the present perfect, we have to use the verb be in the past participle form. So we can see here our lives have been, okay, changed. Okay, changed is already in the past participle form by technology. Okay, our lives have been changed. We can say by technology, or we can stop like that. Next, Alexander Graham Bell. This is the name of a person, so we consider him as a subject. Invented. Okay, this is the verb. What did he do? He invented. That means he started a new thing. What did he invent? He invented the telephone. So the telephone here is the object. So we start with the object. As we said before, we can say the telephone. Here we start with capital. The telephone. And we have to notice what tense we are using here. We are using the past. So what is the best form of the verb be we can use here? We can use was. It is in the past, and the subject here is singular, one. So we use was. If it is more than one, we can use were. Okay, I missed E here. The telephone was invented. And here it is important to say by, okay, and we use the agent, which is Alexander Graham Bell, okay, by Alexander and we continue Graham Bell. Notice here, names are starting with capital letters. Okay, so this is how we form the active form, the passive form out of the passive. Okay, let's clean the board and we move to our main class of today. Our main class of today, as we said before, is listen and discuss. Listen and discuss always introduces the main theme of the unit. What is the unit here? We are starting today. It is unit 6. Do you know where this place is? So it's mainly this unit talks about or discusses the places or locations and talks about some cities. Okay, so we're going to listen to some idea, and read also. Listen and read some passages, 5 passages actually, about some cities, and you will need to find out some information about these cities. Okay, before we start reading and listening to these passages, let's find out what we are planning to find out from these passages. Now, there is a comprehension question you will get at the end of this class. It is a comprehension. This question measures your understanding, how much you understand from this listening and from this reading. So you need to decide if the statements that we are going to show you now, true means correct, or false means not correct, incorrect. The first one here, in Japan, trains are less expensive than planes. Is this statement true or false? Which one is more expensive, trains or planes? Here says in Japan, trains less expensive, less, not more, less expensive than planes. You need to find out when you read this passage. Okay, it is in passage number 1 or passage A. In number 2, also you need to decide the statement is true or false. The trains in Japan travel at a speed faster than sound. You know the speed. If trains can travel faster than sound, that means it is very fast. Okay, you know the sound that I'm talking it reaches the other party in a particular speed. But do you think that trains can travel faster than the sound? This is what you're going to find out. In number 3, the crime rate in Hong Kong is low as that of Singapore. Comparing Singapore and comparing Hong Kong, which city has more crime rate, more crimes committed, bad things committed by criminals? Is it Hong Kong or Singapore? Here this statement says that in Hong Kong it is low as that of Singapore. Okay, it means it is very low in Singapore and in Hong Kong. Is that right? They are the same. They have the same rate of crime. We will find out also when we read. In number 4, Cambridge has a lot of green areas, but noise is a problem. When you go to Cambridge, this is a university. You will find out about where this university is in reading and listening. Here it says it has a noise. There is a noise in this area, in this city. Do you think that's right or not right? If it is right, you write true, or if it is incorrect, you write false. In number 5, the traffic in Mexico City is much worse than in Sao Paulo. We're comparing two cities, Sao Paulo and Mexico City. Is it worse than, in Mexico, is it worse than Sao Paulo? We mean the traffic. How much people are on the roads? Are the roads crowded in Mexico? And the Mexico streets and roads are more crowded than Sao Paulo? You will decide and find out about this comparison between these two cities. Okay, now let's go to the introduction here, or the instructions about the reading. Let's read all together. What do you think people mean when they say a town or a neighborhood has a good quality of life? You hear some people saying, I'm satisfied, I'm happy living in this neighborhood or living in this city. What do they mean by that? What are the characteristics? What are the things that they think make them feeling happy to live in these areas? You hear about that. Okay, now this is the title of the reading. Do you know where this place is? So here you need to think and find out the name of each place that we're going to talk about in 5 sections, 5 slides. Each slide has some information about a city, and your role is to find out what this city is. Okay, look at each photo. There are some photos, as you can see here. Read the text and guess the name of the city or a country. In what ways it is similar to the different from where you live. When you read about this city, you will think about the place where you live. Is it the same or is it different? You need to compare. Later on you will need to talk about it, or also you will need sometimes to write about this comparison between this city that you will read about and the place where you live. The city, the neighborhood, and so on. Okay, let's start with the first one. Here, as you can see here, it's passage number 1 under the title, also the same title, do you know where this place is? And it is number 1A. Let's listen and find out about the questions that we asked you a while ago. Okay?
The public transportation system is the most efficient in the world. The bullet trains can travel at 186 miles, 300 kilometers per hour, and are extremely punctual. Fares for the express trains are as expensive as airplane fares, but overall, the time required for the train trip is usually shorter, since there is no need to travel to an airport.
Okay, now, did you get the answer for the question that we asked? The public transportation system is the most efficient in the world. We know that the public transportation, that means we talk about trains, we talk about cars, we talk about buses, and these are what people use. The bullet train can travel 186. We call it bullet train. We mean by that it indicates that it is very fast. Okay, 186 miles, which means 300 kilometers. Very fast. It is very fast, as you can see here, per hour. In each hour, it passes 300 kilometers, and are extremely punctual. What do you mean by punctual? Means arrives and leaves on time. okay, committed to time. Fares for express trains are as expensive as airplane fares. When you want to pay for the ticket of this train, you need to pay much money, the same as if you pay for a flight on an airplane. But overall, the time required for the train trip is usually shorter since there is no need to travel to an airport. It is shorter, it is easier to get to a train station, and you go there. It is the time here is considered as shorter because you don't need to go to the airport and follow the procedures of going on a flight. Okay, so what is it? This is Japan. Okay, we talk about this one, which is Japan. Now here in B, you need to find out what this city is. Let's read all together and listen at the same time.
The city is known to be one of the safest cities in the world. The overall crime rate is roughly the same as that of Singapore, but lower than that of Tokyo, Toronto, and many other large cities.
Okay, so this is Hong Kong. This is Hong Kong. It's a very famous city. This city is known to be one of the fastest cities in the world. Okay, sorry, not fastest, safest. It is very safe to live there. The rate of crime, the crime rate there is very low, so it is very safe to live in this city. The overall crime rate is roughly the same as Singapore. You know, it is the same as Singapore. Singapore crime rate is low also. But lower than that, Tokyo, Toronto, and many other largest cities. We are comparing this city also to Tokyo, Toronto, and many other cities. Okay. Now let's move to C. Here we're talking about a city. Try to read and find out which city is described in this paragraph. Okay.
It is home to one of the oldest universities in the world and one of the largest. Nowadays, the town isn't as quiet as it used to be, but the quality of life is still just as good. There are lots of green areas, and a quarter of the population cycles around the town, over the bridge, through the parks, and along the narrow streets.
Okay, do you know what this city is? Okay, this is Cambridge. This is another Cambridge. This is another city. Where is the city? It is in England. It is home to one of the oldest universities. You know that Cambridge is a very famous and old university in the world, the oldest one in the world, and one of the largest. Okay, notice here we're using the superlative form. We're talking about the university, the Cambridge University, and we describe it as the largest, very big, very large. Okay, but not only large, but it is the largest, one of the largest in the world. Okay, and also it is one of the oldest. It is not only old, the oldest. Okay, it started long time ago. Nowadays, the town isn't as quiet as it is used to be. Now it's not as quiet as before. Not quite. Okay, it is noisy. It became a noisy city, or noisier than before. It was quiet, but the quality of life is still just as good. The quality of life, how good the life is in this city, is considered as a good one. There are lots of green areas. You know the green areas. There are grass everywhere. There are trees. Okay, and a quarter of the population cycles around the town. Okay, we mean by population the number of people who live there, over the bridges, through the parks, and along the narrow street. Okay, this is a very good area for walking in these areas. Now we move to D. Here we need to read and listen also and find out what this city is. Let's listen and read all together.
Surveys show that the city has the worst traffic in the world. It is worse than Sao Paulo, Brazil. The average commuter spends 4 hours in traffic per day. There are approximately 6 million cars, taxis, buses, and other vehicles carrying 22 million people.
Okay, how you see how much people are, how many people are there in this city? What is it? It is Mexico City. Okay, let's read some information and show you what they mean. Surveys okay, that means studies show that the city has the worst traffic in the world. The worst traffic, that means it is all streets and roads are very crowded. Okay, it is worse than Sao Paulo in Brazil. This is a city also famous of being heavily traffic, or there is a heavy traffic or much traffic there. The average commuter spends 4 hours in traffic per day. The commuter is the one who goes from work to home, to his home or her home, and the vice versa. We call them a commuter. So the average going from work and to home takes about 4 hours driving. So this is a very long time, or very much time. There are approximately 6 million cars. How many cars in this city? We have 6 millions. Okay. What about people? Also there are taxis, buses, and other vehicles carrying 22 million people. So this city has a very huge or very big population, which is 22 million people. So this is Mexico City. Okay, before we go to answer the questions that we asked you before we start our reading, let's review some of the vocabulary that we mentioned in this reading, so they will help you understand more. Here we talk about an adjective starting with E. Try to think and try to remember this word from the text that we read. Working quickly and effectively in an organized way. Okay, what is it? Efficient. Working, if you work with much effort, and if you work without wasting time, that means you are considered as efficient. Okay, this is the adjective. Working efficiently, that is an adverb to describe how good you work. Okay, so efficient is the person who works very well and he doesn't or she doesn't waste time and effort. Let's read it how it appeared in the text. The public transportation system is the most efficient in the world. We describe the traffic system as our transportation system as efficient. Okay, very wisely arranged, okay, or organized. We talk about another adjective starting with P, arriving at the expected or correct time. When you arrive at the expected time or the right time, how can we describe you? Okay, if you commit to time, we can call you as punctual. Punctual person is the one who respects time and who comes on time and who leaves on time. Bullet trains, this is one of the trains that we studied a while ago, which are very fast, are extremely punctual. Punctual means arriving on time and leaving on time. A noun starting with if, the money that you pay for a journey in a vehicle. If you pay money to get a ticket or to go from one place to another, like this one, we call it fare. This is the fare. Okay, let's read it in a text here. Fares are fares for the express trains, the bullet trains, are expensive. You pay for these trains, or the money you pay for these trains as expensive as the airplanes. Okay, here we talk about something else also, an adjective, not in danger or likely to be harmed. That is safe. If you are safe, that means you are not in a danger. Okay, we describe something as safe, as you can see here. The city is known to be one of the safest cities in the world. Okay, one of 4 equal. Okay, like this one, what do you call it? Okay, 1 of 4. Okay, that is the quarter. The quarter is 1 of 4. That means half of the half. Here, a quarter of the population cycles around the town. That means that they ride their bicycle or their bikes and roam around the town. Okay, now before also we go to the question to answer them, let's see what are the good qualities for living in a city. What do you look for in a town or in a community? Check the indicators that are important to you. If you want to live in a neighborhood or in a city, what are the characteristics of that you are looking for in this city? Do you think that the cost of living, the money that you pay in living in this city, is it the cost of housing, how much you rent this house. Also, you look for how clean the air or the quality of the air, how clean it is. Are you looking for the low crime rate? You look for safe areas. Okay. Also, how green the areas are. Also, are you looking for this? Are you looking for areas that are close to hospitals? Are you looking for schools? Does this neighborhood have schools? Also, public transportation, like trains, like buses, like taxis, and so on. Also, the culture and recreation. Is there any recreation centers that you can enjoy your time there? Okay. Some of your colleagues here answered that they like green areas, they like public transportation, they like culture and recreation, and some of them like clean qualities and like clean cost of living. Okay, the vocabulary also here, the section number 1 or A, underline the comparative and superlative forms in the articles. When we read the 5 passages or the 5 paragraphs a while ago, there were many superlative and comparative forms. Let's have some of them. Like you can see in A, when we talked about the train, we said the most efficient. Here we're using the superlative form with the long adjectives. We say the most efficient. As expensive as. Here we're comparing two things, like we are comparing planes with trains. They have the same rate or the same price. As expensive as. Also, we use shorter. Here it is a short adjective which indicates a comparative form. B, in passage B, we studied also the safest and lower. This also, the first one is considered as a superlative form, the other one is a comparative. Also in C, the oldest, the largest, as quiet as. In D, the worst and worse. From bad, we can say bad, worse, and superlative form is the worst. And now we move to the questions that we started our class with to answer true or false. In Japan, trains are less expensive than planes. Okay, the trains, the price that you pay for trains, less money than the trains. Is this true or false? This is a false statement. What's the true statement? Trains are as expensive as planes. As expensive as planes means the same price. All of them are expensive. The trains in Japan travel at speed faster than sound. Does it speed faster than sound? That's false. The bullet trains travel 300 kilometers per hour, and you need to find out how much or how fast the sound is. Okay, it's more than 300 kilometers per hour. In number 3, the crime rate in Hong Kong is as low as that of Singapore. Okay, is the crime rate the same as in Singapore? That's a true statement. In number 4, Cambridge has a lot of green areas, but noise is a problem. Is the noise considered as a problem? That's false. Noise is not a problem. There is noise as described in the paragraph, but it's not that much. Okay. The traffic in Mexico City is much worse than in Sao Paulo. Is that true? Yes, this is a true statement. And by this we come to the end of our class today. Thank you for watching and see you inshallah in our next episode. Goodbye.